Um, okay, I've been dealing with some sort of weird data consumption issues with my iPhone and Verizon. Um, we can rule out the device itself because I've had different phones. In fact, just recently I traded devices with my son, and yet my device is still the one that is having both data consumption and battery consumption issues. So it's something unique to me. It's something unique to how I'm using it, what I'm doing, what apps I have installed, something. Um, with the data consumption, we have a family plan. There's like 7 devices on the plan. We share 30 gigabytes of data, and yet somehow my device alone is going through an average of say 10 gigabytes, sometimes more per month. Now, what's strange about that is most of the time I am either in my office, which has a Wi-Fi connection, and my phone is on the Wi-Fi network, or I'm at home, which has a Wi-Fi network that I'm connected to. In between work and home, I am listening to podcasts that have already been downloaded to my phone, and therefore I should not be using any cellular data, really. Um, Now, that's not to say I expect to never use cellular data. I just expect it to be a reasonable amount and don't understand why or how I'm consuming, uh, you know, 10 plus gigabytes per month when I'm almost always on a Wi-Fi network. Last week we had hit the end of our billing cycle, or just before the end of our billing cycle, we ran out of data, and we ended up paying the overage to buy another gigabyte or two. But I and some of my other kids, we just turned off cellular on our devices because my wife and daughter were going out of town and they needed that cellular data, and we had no reason to use it. In theory, I shouldn't have used it anyway, even without turning off the cellular data, because I'm sitting at home all weekend on my own Wi-Fi network. But yesterday was the first day of the billing cycle, of a new billing cycle, and so I thought, hey, I should go ahead and turn back my cellular data back on. It's a new billing cycle, and I'm sitting at home on my own Wi-Fi network. Now, my device was connected to that Wi-Fi network, and yet in about 15 minutes, I just checked just to see what was going on. In about 15 minutes, it used almost 700 megabytes of cellular data while connected to my Wi-Fi network. I have no idea how that happens. Do you have any idea how that happens? If you do, let me know, because Verizon and Apple don't have any idea how that happens. Today, so when I discovered this, I immediately turned cellular data back off because, again, I'm sitting at home on my Wi-Fi network. I don't actually need it to be turned on, so there's no reason to use up data on who knows what when I don't need it. So today, I left the house to go on an appointment, and realized my cellular data was still off, and I wanted to turn it on. And then I thought, okay, well, let's try and think through this. What applications might be using the cellular data that I could just turn those off? If you go into the settings for cellular, under you go settings, general, no, not general, settings, cellular, and then you can just turn cellular data off entirely up at the top there. But if you scroll down, you can disable it on an app by app basis. So I thought, all right, there's a lot of things that are good, that I want to use when I'm on a Wi-Fi network that I really don't need to be using when I'm out and about, driving in my car, whatever. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, those are at the top of the list. There were some other ones that were like home automation, home Wi-Fi related stuff that I thought I probably don't really need to be able to communicate with my vacuum, my robot vacuum over a cellular network, or even Alexa. So I disabled all those things. I mean, if you look through here, Facebook is disabled. Go down. LinkedIn is disabled. Instagram is disabled. So I disabled all these apps. So I'm sitting at my appointment, and I was checking email, and I absent-mindedly, out of habit, clicked over to Facebook, and it worked. And I thought, well, that's odd, because again, Cellular's on here. I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi off so I'm not connected to my home Wi-Fi network. The cellular here is on. But Facebook is disabled. Yet I can come in here and I can use Facebook. That just shouldn't be possible. Turns out it also works for LinkedIn. So Facebook and LinkedIn, even though they're both disabled on an app basis in the cellular settings, continue to work. Now, I did some experimenting and I found out if you literally disable cellular, all of cellular, Facebook will stop working. It'll tell you that internet connection is gone, but you can still post while you're offline. So I have no idea what's going on there. I don't know if it's Verizon's fault, Apple's fault, Facebook's fault. I don't know whose fault it is, or even how it's possible. But obviously, me disabling cellular at the app level is not working on those apps. And I'm curious what other apps it might not be working on, because I have a lot of apps that I disabled as I've been trying to troubleshoot this problem for months. So now I seem to have two problems that may or may not be related. One is why is my device consuming massive quantities of cellular data even while connected to a Wi-Fi network? Even while, oftentimes if I go back through that DataMan data and look, often, 3 o'clock in the morning, while I'm sleeping, while my phone is charging on the side table, connected to my Wi-Fi network, it'll chew through 200, 300, 400 megabytes of cellular data. Should not be possible. I have no idea why that happens. I don't see how it happens. Verizon and Apple have not been any help at all. I've talked to both of them on multiple occasions, trying to work through the problem and say, hey, why is my phone using all this cellular data if I'm on a Wi-Fi network? Verizon says probably an iOS problem. Apple says probably a Verizon problem. So they're not any help. So by all means, if you have any ideas, feel free to share. If I come up with any solutions, I will share them with you. All I know is I'm getting sort of tired of paying for consuming data that I'm not really consuming, or at least shouldn't be.